I feel like worst has to either be Alter Ego or like the Kirigiri Makoto one. I'm gonna go with the Kirigiri / Makoto one as worst. I want to say this one's worst because first of all, it's not really canon. Kirigiri's is not canon, so I feel like that doesn't really count. But Makoto's case, he doesn't die, so it's not an execution. It's like execution-ish technically, and like he would have just gotten smushed. That's the whole thing. So I feel like this has to be the weakest one because it's just someone getting smushed. Then I'm gonna put Alter Egos because it's just drilling into a laptop. Like it's not as interesting. It's like, ah, they found Alter Ego, but I mean Chihiro was already dead and it's just destroying a laptop. This is where it gets really interesting. See, I'm torn between where I want to put Junko's because she does experience you know what, I'm gonna put Junko's at 4th because it's just replaying the previous ones. Yeah, she's doing all of them at the same time, but it's reusing them, if that makes sense. So we'll put Junko's there because yeah, it's kind of extreme that she's doing all of them one at a time, but the impact isn't as there, if that makes sense. Now we have the real meat and potatoes here. Celeste burns to death, but it's very elaborate. This is the thing to me. Leon's is more brutal, getting so many baseballs chucked at him by a pitching machine, and then Celeste burning to death while a fire truck runs her over. So presentation-wise, Celeste tops it. But Leon's, like, I'm trying to think of, like, if you're actually witnessing this in person, which impossible, but I don't know. Okay, I'm putting Celeste at 3. This one might be hot take because visually it is definitely more stunning, but the fire truck part kind of just made the death go quicker. While Leon, this dude is just sitting there getting pummeled by baseballs, and everyone has to watch him just it slowly starts with just a couple baseballs, and you're like, oh man, this is kind of brutal, and then it just ramps up, and this dude is just pummeled into mush, essentially. I know you don't see him as mush, but could you imagine the pain level of getting just slowly hit in the internal, or like slowly just hit and all of your internal organs probably exploding? That alone, like, to me, as like seeing someone go through that, I'd be like, holy and it really set the tone of like, we're not fucking around. These people are dead, dude. There's no way that they're not dead. It's the first execution, and you can argue that it's really basic, but I think it sits with you so much longer than Celeste. And at this point, Celeste is kind of a fucking meme. Like, oh, that got run over by a fucking fire truck. And of course, like, Mondo Butter has to be the #1 one. Who thought turning someone into goddamn butter was just the it plan to go to? That's wild. And they tied it into his personality of like being a biker and it looking like one of those like circus shows where he's in that motorcycle cage. You're like, oh, maybe he's just gonna like get dizzy and die. But no, they spun this man so fast that he turns into butter. It's immediately after Leon's execution, where it's like, it's so brutal of Leon's, and then you get the most absurd thing ever. That, like, if you ask someone just immediately off the top of their head to name a Danganronpa execution, I feel like 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say Mondo's. Like, if you just ask someone, first execution in Danganronpa that comes to your head, I guarantee it's Mondo's. Because just the whole absurdity of someone turning into butter is wild. Absolutely wild. And I have to, like, think of the other ones, and I'll do a tier list after their character tier lists of their executions, but it kind of also ties into Danganronpa 2's going more extreme. These ones are a lot more grounded, I would say, but this one just sticks out so much for an execution in the first game.